Right, welcome back, and we're having quite some discussion here about corruption. My guest this morning is Kimani Wamatangi, the Senator for Kiambu County, Jakoyo Midiwo, former Member of Parliament for GEM. We have Aaron Cheruiyot, Senator Kericho, Eseli Simiyu, member from Tongaren, and former Senator for Kakamega, Boni Khawale. Welcome back, gentlemen, and we continue this discussion. And as we discuss this, also have in mind the fact that the war on graft now, it's going tribal. Even as we talk about how to ensure that we end this, I just want your comments also in relation to the fact that now it's, oh, you're targeting our community, or why is it this community that is always being hounded in court and that. And let me begin with Mheshimiwa, okay, from Tongaren.
I think what we should know is tribalism, impunity, and corruption are bedfellows. They are bedfellows. So of course, if you start targeting corruption, you'll find the tribe involved. And with that, impunity comes in. I think for a long time, those of us who have not been in Jubilee have complained that the Jubilee administration is exclusive. They are only employing people from certain places, especially the high jobs. MDs, CEOs, and things like those. So now, if people from those places start complaining that their people are the ones being arrested, it's because they are the ones who got the jobs. Nobody else got those jobs. Those who had those jobs were sacked and replaced by these people. So it's part of the problem of Kenya. Tribalism, impunity, and corruption. Okay. They run together. So I think, yes, if you arrest all these people, assuming that they have all wronged, you will find that the majority of them will be Kikuyu and Kalenjin.
Okay.
That is a result of Jubilee's bad behavior from the time they took over the administration. The handshake did not change this fact. Let's face it, the handshake didn't change that fact. So, because Jubilee misbehaved, you'll find that the arrests will be mainly those two tribes.
Okay, but it's not the first time that we hear them saying our tribe is targeted. Look at even the last parliament, the leaders in various fields. When you invite them at the EACC, they come with their supporters who are their tribesmen. So this bad manners has not been in court yesterday. Didn't begin. Yes,
you saw it in court yesterday.
Yes.
When the people were taken to court, they were all escorted by their friends, their tribesmen,
but then,
and
gentlemen,
so on.
how do we divorce? Is
because
it even possible?
The people themselves have been glorifying these people who have made money
in the village.
In the villages.
Yes.
So when that person is arrested, the villagers feel a loss because they get handouts from this person.
Okay.
So they come to support that person. I think we need to really relook seriously about our values as a society, our values as Kenyans, and where do we want to take Kenya for the future of our descendants.
Senator Cheruiyot, you're shaking your head. I know you've not spoken about our community being targeted, but it looks as though your community is being targeted.
Well, you know, I get lost when this discussion begins about our community being targeted, because for sure, at the very least, I do not hold that view. I do not believe that there's a specific community that is being made to pay for what is going on. But, I say but 3 times. Celebrated English writer, Beatrice Hall, once said that I may detest what you're saying, but I will defend your right to say it up to the point of death. So the question that we should be asking ourselves this morning is, what is it that these people are saying? We may not like when they say that certain members of our community are being unfairly tried, but do we pause for a moment and listen and follow through the kind of arguments they are making? Let me give you an example. You're very much aware of the KPLC issue of what happened with Ben Chumo and Tarus. If we had a credible and properly functioning, even just media where you work, Ken, and they had properly done their homework, you would have known what are the merits and the demerits of a case that is facing those two gentlemen. An MD signed the contract. There was later a dispute which went through court process, and eventually the company entered into an out-of-court settlement, which is now subject to dispute. The MD who signed those contracts and signed KPLC to buy those transformers continue to sit in office today as a PS for energy. It's called Njoroge someone. Joseph Njoroge. His head of human resource and chief accountant then have been tried and they've been told, you paid for faulty transformers. Tell me, how does it make sense to you that the MD, where in other places you go for the MD together with his people, but for this particular one, you decided to charge his director of human resource and charged his chief accountant, but left out conveniently the MD. When people begin to raise such credible questions, do not just shut them up and tell them, keep quiet, you are defending your tribesmen. Let me tell you about this KPC that Mheshimiwa Eseli is speaking about. I am very much aware of the issues in KPC because last parliament, as well as in this parliament, I sit in the energy committee. This Kisumu oil jetty that people are speaking about, I was there in Kisumu last year during the campaigns when we launched it together with the president, the deputy, the chairman of KPC, and I know the history of it, that this was an East African community treaty projects. Those that when presidents sit, they agree and say, your country will do this, the other one will do this. There are memos written by none other than Kinjwa, the head of public service, directing the cabinet secretary that please, can you hasten the process of this Kisumu oil jetty? The minister goes ahead and writes to the MD that ensure that you carry out this project as soon as possible, because the president has made commitments in Arusha that Kenya we will do our face. They go ahead and do it. Then we come and castigate them and say, because I read the story that you ran in the Nation yesterday, the whole argument why you splashed the photo of the cabinet secretary for energy is that he never stopped them from implementing the project despite it not being in the budget. The obvious reason is, the reason why they did it in such a hastened process is because Kinjwa wrote to the minister wrote to the MD. Why haven't we seen Kinjwa record a statement? So when people begin to raise very critical questions about the things that are happening, do not reduce the debate into a very...
It's the cost that's wrong.
You know, no, the whole story, I mean, we are in the nation media. Tell them to bring you the newspaper.
It's the cost of the
Tell them to bring you the newspaper and read what they wrote. That they did a project out of budget. Go and see the pleadings that were made in court.
But now you are actually falling into my trap. These people you've mentioned, Kinjwa and so on, Joroge and so on, there are still two communities, Kalenjin Kikuyu, the ills of the Jubilee establishment.
Okay.
You see,
let me weigh in. What about Kimani? No, I'm not being unfair to Boni. Boni will have his time. You just come from...
I think I had
You will speak. You will speak, Boni. No, Boni will speak, yes.
Again,
Yeah.
But of course, and it would be good also to hear the views of Boni, and I think he spoke before me.
Yes,
so
he did speak in the other break.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. So I think we are being fair to everyone. you know, Ken, just on two issues. First, you know, you started with a very humorous part there of people being escorted to court by their tribes, by their kinsmen, and so on. And you know, critically looking at it, other than when it is done by politicians, remember a few 2 or 3 years ago when the first arrests were being done, just before the elections, I think you remember NYS1 and so on, people used to go escort at that time, but that time it was very well pre-planned. And you would find people dancing outside the Integrity Center building, waiting for a suspect to arrive, you know, before the suspect has arrived. and then when the suspect arrived, they would arrive in style. and you know, and of course, you know, that was probably taking it beyond. But of course, on the other hand, remember, even when one is condemned to hang, Ken, you are also told you are given a few moments to speak to your family, and they ask, is his wife around? Because, I mean, it is also common sense and knowledge that at whatever point you are in life, whether you are being condemned or whatever, there are still people who are close to you. And that's why even people come to your funeral, even though you would have been shot dead for stealing. Now, however, you know, this question of community targeting, I think, is the one that is very interesting, because you hear the twist that
Eseli has
Eseli has put in. But then you have had your time. You've had your time to speak, Eseli.
No, Jubilee has been very bad for this.
Eseli, you have had your time to speak. So now that your views are already in the air, now you know, because I think, Eseli, you need to take a look at the newspapers that you have in front of you and read the names, actually, of the people who are charged. It's a whole spectrum. It's across every community. Those are the people who are actually in court yesterday. So you would be wrong, and actually you are very wrong on that in that perception. But then moving on, my brother Cheruiyot here also has now delved into prosecuting the case himself and coming with a few details. And I'll be saying, you see, I think what we should be doing ourselves as leaders in the first place is, once those matters are taken to court, we should be urging that let that court process then, one, and that is what I started by saying in my first statement, that those facts as produced in court really need to have held true or to hold true to lead to the process of that person being charged. But then, from that point on, as leaders, we should be saying that let's have an expeditious and influenced, non-partisan process that will ensure that the truth has come out.
Okay.
Because, for example, probably that's what I would also be saying to my brother Cheruiyot here, is you see, if I would say that Boni Khawale is the one who said this, and so that is why he should have been charged along with Jakoyo and so on, would be losing it, because they are merits of a case, and of course you cannot be able to bring them out with that kind of disposition. So whatever role, probably advisory or instructive, maybe either Kenya may have played or Yorogami, the issue here is, if those matters have been taken to court, can we see a process that will be fast, that will be quick, that will be uninfluenced, that will give results eventually, and if people are innocent, they should be let go the way that they were taken to court. And actually, even if, where possible, reparations, reinstatements done, because then that is damage to those people's reputations and careers, if indeed they are found not to be guilty. But if they are guilty, there is no way, there is no place in this country now and in the future that we can make an argument that because that person is my neighbor or my friend or is from my community, that we would try to make an argument that we want to either to shield them. That one we must all be very, very clear about. The only way to heal this country and to help our neighbors, even me, myself, as a member of Jubilee, and even from that community, if I want my children who are now in school to find a country where they can make a better life and a better place, I must start by saying that any Kikuyu who is either my neighbor or my community man who is guilty of plunder must also face the law fully.
Okay. Yeah. Boni.
This is a serious matter of governance, and it exists on the triad of bad politics, tribalism, and corruption. The difference between Ochieng and Kamau, Cheruiyot and Hamadi, is that one has an opportunity to be corrupt, the other one doesn't have. The country being, I can assure you, remove all these Kalenjins from office.
Put Luos there.
Remove all these Kikuyus from office. Yes. Put a Luo president there and a Luo deputy president there. Let them appoint members of their family. Same thing is going to happen.
So we don't all have integrity.
Yeah, so there's nothing like Kalenjins are more corrupt than Kikuyus, or Kikuyus are less corrupt than Mijikendas and what have you. It's all in the national psyche that we have embraced tribalism, we have embraced bad politics, we have embraced corruption. I'm saying this because the people who have an opportunity exercise corruption. And to have that opportunity, you have to be put in a place where that opportunity exists. You are normally put in that opportunity by the politician.
Like the young man made taken to the tender.
So the bottom line is that the buck will stop with the politician.
Okay.
Politicians have to start exercising good politics to ensure that when they appoint people, they are appointing them knowing that they are going to discharge a national duty. This, unfortunately, is not the case. Let me tell you, and I didn't want to go this route this morning, but you are now forcing me, because somebody wants to unfairly profile one community or the other one. Even in the little opportunities that we in the oppositions had when government was being formed, be it putting people in charge of committees in parliament or those kind of little things, we gave it to members of our tribes. I mean, that is how Wetangula ended up losing a small thing called leader of the minority, because he was not in the right mindset of the agenda of the bad politics of tribes in this country.
Was that the reason, Boni?
Okay, now you have invited it.
No, that was not the reason.
So let me
the reason
expand.
is Wetangula is one senator, if I got it right, and ODM had more senators in the Senate. So definitely, if you have to be the leader of minority, you have to have numbers. I'm still speaking to Boni. That's my reasoning. Because if you go that route, we'll also talk about Terer and Keter, who are removed from committees, you know. So you...
Listen to Boni. It's
Okay.
a party leader for Kenya.
No, but we have to be factual. But we have to be factual when we talk
No.
about it. Yes.
He knows what he's telling you. He's right.
But we have to be factual also.
You know, Cheruiyot,
ODM is very sexy.
But Ken is strongly defending
No, I'm not defending ODM. I'm
Allow
just
these
trying
leaders
to...
to tell you the truth.
No,
Because
I'm
they
just
know it
trying to
better
look
than
at
you
it.
can.
No. You can't assume they know it better than me and I exist in this world.
No,
That's an unfair
because
statement.
listen. You see, while you're in the newsroom, they are in the heart of where those decisions are made in politics, so they know why it was made.
Why is Duale the leader of majority in the National Assembly?
No,
Just
listen to
answer me,
Wale.
then I go back to Boni. Why is Duale the leader of majority?
It courtesy of a decision by the Jubilee
By
Party.
the Jubilee
parliamentary
Party?
group.
Exactly.
you know.
It can be about politics.
Viewers will forgive you very quickly.
You know, that's the problem with Kenya. When we have a problem, we try to paper over it and gloss it and make it look nice when it really isn't. I know for a fact the positions.
Boni,
I'll hand over to you. The positions of Jubilee were dictated. from
exactly.
The positions
were dictated from Orange House.
In NASA were dictated from Orange
House. Okay, Boni.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing like a parliamentary.
Allow me to call.
Okay, let's give Boni time. Yes, Boni, please. We'll not interrupt you.
And then we can also,
With the permission of the panel, allow me to call our moderator to order. Because the viewers will forgive you very quickly for your views when I reveal you are the DNA of your body. You come from the same place of the people that you are trying to defend.
No, not really. That's not factual.
So relax.
Yeah, no, that's not factual also.
My brother, I was making a very important statement that there are no angels in the opposition, just like we think there are devils in government. You have challenged me about Wetangula. Okay, leave that one.
Yes.
But is it by happenstance, is it by accident, or is it by design that move away from the leader of minority in the Senate, the chairman of public accounts in the Senate is from the same ethnic community. The chairman of public accounts in the National Assembly is from the same ethnic community. The leader of the minority in the National Assembly is from the same community.
Yes.
The leader of the minority in the Senate is from the same community. So this nonsense of tribalism should be actually slayed, starting from this particular panel. I tell you, I worked in one parliament with Jakoyo when he was chief whip. He was a fantastic chief whip. Him and Johnson Mudama during the era of the Grand Coalition government. They would come up, I was in the House Business Committee, they would come up and give anybody who was deserving seen to have that which it takes to bring value to the committee, an opportunity to serve. Now, people are being given an opportunity to sit on committees purely because of the tribe you come from. I mean, that is how low we have sunk with Jakoyo. How I wish Parliament was still functioning the way it used to function.
I have been told on this set and another one, Boni, that Parliament is our best bet now. Parliament is actually functioning. I've been told several.
Is it?
I've been told
say
that.
something?
But
I think
yes, Jakoyo should now speak.
Let me
Jakoyo,
defend
yes.
Boni a bit. Boni, thank you for the nice accolades. But remember, I'm also from the same DNA. So if I worked well, it can still be better. The fact that ODM is rogue does not mean, I don't think it's an angle of tribalism. Let me tell you this rectangular thing. The Speaker of the Senate
Collaborated. Was a collaborator.
he was a collaborator and he's a lawyer. He took out Wetangula, who is his village mate.
And came home celebrating.
And came home celebrating because he is the one. It was the lawyer who did in a lawyer. I know.
It's true.
Let me
He celebrated in a home next to my home.
Can I contribute?
Let's allow
Can I contribute?
Yes.
Because I think it's besides the point.
Yes.
But I
No, let Jakoyo speak, then you'll speak, Kimani.
You had the opportunity.
But the accusations they make, they should make fair accusations
No,
to
no,
people who are not here.
No,
We shall defend
no.
Lusaka, don't worry.
Let me just tell you.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
just
I
tell
agree
you.
with you, Kimani.
Because it's neither here nor there. Because the law says standing orders and otherwise, and even the whole thinking of our constitution is that leaders of majority and minorities are selected by their political parties. So when a speaker allows a vote, a general vote of all membership of the Senate, the law is broken.
It didn't.
No.
That's not what happened.
Come on.
We can't. I sit in the Senate.
No,
we
you
cannot make
you
a
on the floor that day?
Yes,
Please,
my
please.
friend.
Please.
That what?
Please,
what-
can I
what-
just continue?
No, let me help.
Cheruiyot.
No, but
He read out minutes
rule
of
now
an
says-
RPG.
No, that's what I'm wondering. Eseli, you are out of order. You are out of order.
How was
You
Wetangula
know-
appointed? Was from NASA.
How
was
Eseli?
It was not from NASA.
Eseli and Nani.
And why did Lusaka accept that?
Gentlemen,
Lusaka is rogue.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we have to have order here.
Yeah,
We have to have
we
order.
must have some order.
Yes,
Let
let
us
Jakoyo
have
speak,
order.
then you
And
speak,
such
Kimani.
that if it is
Jakoyo
him
speaking,
who is
he
having
needs to
an
speak.
After
Yes.
Jakoyo is
let him
No,
speak.
okay.
And
Jakoyo,
then
go
after that,
ahead.
no, it's not you, Cheruiyot.
No, I'll
After
choose who
Jakoyo,
speaks
it is
next. No,
Wamatangi.
I'll
Then
choose who
Wamatangi
speaks
is
next.
and Eseli should be
No,
controlled.
Kimani, please. Yes. Eseli is wrong.
I think
Jakoyo.
I think Ken, Boni
You'll also be
had
banned.
called you to order.
Okay.
Yes, you must control whoever speaks.
Yes.
Please,
So,
go on.
and I don't think we are doing you a favor by keeping quiet. I think it is good decorum to keep quiet when others are
Yes.
talking, because we are talking
Go
to the
ahead.
general
Go
public.
ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Ken, I want to address my young senator brother here. You know, when you come here and begin talking about Kisumu Jetty and all those things, I think we are crossing the line about issues which are in court. I am not a lawyer, but I know the limit. When you begin defending people who are accused of plundering, because this is plunder, it's not even corruption, this is open theft, that if they stole, they also stole with Kenya. Let me tell you something about Kenya.
What I said.
No, you said how come Kenya has never written a statement. I was a member of Finance Committee in Parliament for 10 years when Kenya was the Permanent Secretary for Finance. He's a fine gentleman. His role now has nothing to do with the cost of the jetty. It's to okay the process, the need, if the country needs it, and all those things.
I was speaking as to
man.
out of budget.
Cheruiyot, you will have an opportunity. You will have an opportunity. You'll have an opportunity.
No,
Which is okay. You'll have an opportunity to respond to him once he's done.
We were here. I used English, not Kalenjin. But why is he putting words into my
You
mouth?
will respond.
because I
Jakoyo,
think
proceed.
you're thinking in Kikalenjin. It is wrong.
It's you who's understanding in the Luo.
It's okay.
Gentlemen.
But Luos are intelligent,
No.
so I'm...
Gentlemen, gentlemen,
I'm
calm
Can
down.
you have
understanding
some
that.
order?
But I'm just saying,
Yes.
we said, Ken, my first contribution was that if you go to a football match of AFC and Gor Mahia, and the referee took out a red card and flashed it on a player, 9 out of 10 times, that player will be either Luo or Luya. That is the way the Jubilee government is constituted. What we are saying, it must bother Kenyans. And there's nothing wrong with talking about it, because we are talking about issues which are taken care of in our constitution. Why is it that all parastatals happen to, where there is money, happen to be only one tribe? That in itself is corruption. We must reconstitute our country. We must constitute our government. We must stop scenarios where people still, when they sit wherever they're talking, they talk in their language to plan to plunder public funds. I think we can do that for our people. We can do that for our people. You know, when I have never had, even the tribe of my friend Wamatangi, when they're arrested, when Murungaru was in court, when Kimunya was in court, when everybody, I've never heard them making noise. You know, you are treating us to primitivity, and that is wrong. That is wrong. As a people, we must move forward. This country went through so much to do a constitution which gave us chapter 6 of our constitution. That 10 years later, we still have people sitting in office that are unwilling to live with chapter 6, and they are saying it is okay. It is wrong. When CS, Cabinet Secretary for Finance, wrote to Keter and said, this money you can't absorb. He wrote to the MD, why are we defending them? That guy is not a targeter. He's not Nurdin Haji. He's the Minister of Finance. He's also as challenging as this other guy he was writing to. He said something is improper. How come these people didn't listen? Because they thought this day would not come. How happy am I that the day of revolution has come in our country? It shall bite, and it must bite.
Okay. You know, Eseli has been interjecting, but he hasn't spoken on this topic. So I'll let him speak, because he's been interjecting. You'd think he's spoken. Then Kimani, you will speak.
He's
He's been interjecting a lot, but he's not spoken. He's not spoken, to be fair to him.
It's unfortunate.
Let him go ahead.
This country, we have one problem. When we are faced with a difficulty, we don't sit down and solve that difficulty. Instead, we try to paper over it and, sweep it under the carpet and, or even sugarcoat it and make it look okay. I think we have a serious problem on corruption, theft, and all that. That is because when we were fighting the colonialists, we were justified to sabotage what the colonialists were doing in the country. We were justified to steal money from those colonialists because it was part of the war for independence. But after independence, we didn't get out of that mindset that now the government is ours and we should not steal from it, because when we steal from it, we are stealing our own money. We didn't get over it. And that is where our problem is.
Okay.
There are departments in this country where people can speak their mother tongue. They can conduct everything in their mother tongue and get away with it. We should look at other countries. Is it Mauritius or Malaysia, where where they have got quota system, in the sense that the tribes that constitute that country have been, through census, they have known the percentages. So when they are employing people in the public service, it's represented by those percentages.
Okay.
We need to do it here, rather than saying that the public service has got this percentage of lawyers when most of them are sweepers and cleaners. We need to have it at all levels. We have a problem on tribalism here. So we must legislate against tribalism.
Okay.
We must legislate against it.
Okay.
And that tribalism, as I said from the beginning, that tribalism is what breeds impunity and corruption.
Okay.
Because everybody feels secure in their tribe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
And that's
so
why you find
we
them
have
being
to be very,
escorted to
we
court.
have to be very deliberate if that has to happen.
Yes,
It has to be a
we
deliberate
must be
move.
deliberate. That's why I was saying that we Kenyans
Yes.
don't want to face the problems we have
Okay.
and come up with solutions.
Senator
We must
Kimani.
come up with solutions on tribalism.
Senator.
Okay, Ken. I think, well, my view, because we've really debated that point, but my concern is this, that if we take it beyond where we are right now in this discussion, and alongside the cue we've taken now, we may actually start to, unfortunately, water down what is happening. Because, when we introduce now the political angle with certain political interests, because as a politician you must also have certain interests, you find then that we run the risk again of losing the momentum and the goodwill that has been there in fighting corruption. Because the reason I say this is, Ken, this perception that continues to be built all over, one is non-factual. It's not supported by any facts.
Which one? Which is this perception?
For example, when we talk about positions held or appointments in public offices being held entirely by two communities or by a few communities, because you only need probably to do a rundown, for example, of the cabinet positions we have right now, and write down the name of each cabinet secretary in the position they hold, and you will start to discount all those facts as non-factual. The fact that probably when you have a certain individual in a certain office, either by doing good or bad, by the fact that that person either has excelled or has plundered the docket that they are in, and then they are lifted high in public limelight, does not necessarily mean that is the signal, or that is the symbol of everybody else. And what I would be saying is that, if we continue to perpetuate this, especially when we have a new constitution, when we have set out laws, when we have commissions, when we have boards that we as leaders know how they are comprised and how people are appointed into. I mean, starting from the IBC that we've just, right now almost defunct, from all the other commissions, and you see how appointments happen. We would run that very big risk. I want to say categorically in this forum that it is untrue, very untrue, that positions that are useful, that are instrumental, that would guide this country are held by two communities. What we want to say, and this would be my word, Ken, is it does not matter. I said that in a few minutes before. It doesn't matter the name of the person in that office. To me, it doesn't matter the place they come from, or who their neighbors are, or who their kinsmen are. As long as they have taken that oath with their right hand and committed to serve this country and be of their best in public service, then they must do so. If they fail to do that, either by virtue that they steal, that they plunder, then they must face the full force of the law.
Okay.
And unless we go that way, if we continue to entertain this discussion here as political leaders ourselves, that, because there's that community, what we are doing, even for example, the argument that is being made by Eseli, does not help us, does not help this country. Because what he's simply saying is that if there were 2 or 3 or more of his neighbors, he would be happier. That's not the kind of country we want to build. Okay. What we are saying is that at every time, what we must stand for is meritocracy.
Okay.
End of story. Yeah.
Boni,
burning one. Just
okay.
two quick points.
Okay.
The first one is to appeal to my brother Jakoyo. You should stop looking for scapegoats. Lusaka did not originate, did not prosecute the removal of Wetangula for the reason that you and Eseli, you know very well that under the standing orders, the motion to change membership of a committee is not originated by the speaker. It is originated by the whip of that particular party, and then the motion is moved, the speaker only presides over it. What did you want Lusaka to do? My second point is, The problem my brother Eseli is having,
Just go to your second point.
No. Before I go there, let me preempt him. Eseli, you must not confuse this national debate with the local politics of Bungoma. You know very well that that's your own problem. Don't feed us on your problems in Bungoma, where obviously Lusaka is a threat to you because it's in Jubilee, and Dr. Chikati is a problem to you in Tongaren. So my second point.
Yes.
My second point is that it's wrong for us using this particular platform again to profile communities as being corrupt, being this, being that, just for purposes of suiting our argument. If it is really a question of being given opportunities, the lawyers, we did not vote for Uhuru at all. We did not vote for Uhuru and Ruto. But Uhuru and Ruto have given the entire IEBC to lawyers. Which votes were they returning? Which favor were they returning? They have also given lawyers the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
Terrible positions.
They have given.
Positions.
Listen, this is the truth.
Terrible positions.
They have given the lawyers the Ministry of Devolution through Eugene Wamalwa.
And removed planning.
They have
removed planning, removed.
Why Eseli is so impatient today with you? Eseli, do you have a problem?
No, I don't have a problem.
Yes.
No, but
You have to be this.
You know,
no, but you're becoming a heckler.
It's heckling.
Today, Eseli, I don't know what he smokes.
I prefer the truth.
Tell you whatever you smoke this morning. Boni, finish. I need to speak to Aaron Cheruiyot.
But I must have a right of reply.
Yeah, you will reply, but Aaron has been rather quiet. You respond, yes.
They have given us the key, Ministry of Sports. Yeah. We are the ones who are controlling the agenda of the youth in the country. Youth who are the majority in the country. What you people should do, you should now adopt different strategies to ensure that if it is the presidency that allows your community to get a lion's share, you drive yourself into that office.
Okay.
And not exercise politics of wailing and complaining as if you are in a funeral. Do something the way some of us are doing something.
Okay.
Move on and strategize so as to be part or form the next government.
Aaron.
That's the future.
Yes.
Of this country.
Today you have spoken very well, Boni. I mean, those are called the facts.
Yes. Let Aaron Cheruiyot speak.
Thank you, Ken.
Yes.
You know, there are two things that I want to say. One is to correct Jakoyo. Yes. Because Jakoyo wants to mislead the country. He wants to put words into my own mouth. While what I said it in very plain and simple English. So I don't know where he got it lost in translation. Because I was addressing the issue of the project of Kisumu Oil Jetty having been done, despite it not have been in the budget estimates of KPC. And I raised the issue and I said the president went into a meeting of EAC heads of states. It was one of the agreed projects and made commitments that it needs to be fast-tracked, came and issued instructions through Kinyua. I didn't say Kinyua had anything to do with how it was done, how it was procured. I think that is plain and simple. But on to more important issues. I think I said earlier, Ken, that we shall lose a very great opportunity and moment for our country to once and for all, in all finality, slay the dragon of corruption if we pursue the line of thought that we are being encouraged to pursue this morning, where we are being told, oh, please focus when we reduce the whole discussion into about this community or the other. I have said for the record that I support the president on this war on corruption 100%, at day, at night, on land, sea, and air. There's no debate about it. But does it mean that I am supposed to abrogate my responsibilities as a member of parliament and just give a stamp of approval to DPP and DCI when I see that some of the things that they are doing do not make sense to me? They're in clear violation of this constitution. You know, the chapter 6 that you quote, Jakoyo, is part of this document, just as Article 49 and Article 50 on rights of accused persons and the right to a fair trial, which is a simple thing that we are calling on the DCI and DPP to adhere to. Okay. You know, I have always questioned, what is all this rush, for example, sometimes, to arrest people on a Friday, then bring them to court on a Monday? while you have no intention of absolutely. You know, in a country where proper justice system works, the DPP gets to notify and tells you, Jakoyo, I am now ready with your file. Let us meet in court tomorrow. And you proceed. He presents a case before the judges, and you defend yourself. But this sadistic view that our DCI continues to have, where you want to appear to be punitive from the very onset, that is not what our Constitution envisioned. Our Constitution gave equal rights to every Kenyan. Whether you are accused or free, let them be taken. There is a history. Let us not forget the history.
Okay.
During the dark days of Kanu, people used to be taken to torture chambers. And that is why when we wrote this Constitution, we made sure that we said that even for those that are accused, they have their rights, and let them be treated as much as possible. Okay. There are questions that you are raising on the process that is being followed. And we shouldn't be told, keep quiet. You're opposed, you're opposed to the war on corruption. I'd wish to know from DCI Kinoti, for example, your own minister, CS Matiang'i, speaking at DCI headquarters, told the country that somebody had imported sugar that was laced with mercury. At the same time, we were having the maize crisis. What is all this hurry about the maize alone? And he has completely gone silent
on the sugar.
On sugar. Is it because Rai, who is known to be a friend of, as a brother to a certain big man, are business partners? That's why DCI Kinoti has gone silent on sugar. What happened to Ruaraka, who is in jail because of NYS1? You know, we should at some point get tired of all these suckers and merry-go-round where you are treated to, oh, a receptionist is making this money. Then we get angry, and that is the end of it. Okay. I can bet if we do not change tact, this young man that is on the standard today, in another 2 years, he'll just be another Ngirita, another Kafura,
be a governor somewhere,
or be a governor somewhere.
You have a right, gentlemen. Just hold before you respond. We have only 5 minutes on the clock, so a minute each. So even as you respond, just know it's your minute. Just after a minute, I'll have to cut you short. We have
Boni Khawale accused me of certain things which are neither here nor true, but the truth of the matter was that Lusaka was deeply involved in the removal of Wetangula from that position, because the appointment of Wetangula came from NASA, the principals. So if he had accepted that as the way of appointing him, how come now he changed and used a different thing? And again, he received another letter telling me that the NASA position stands. And he still went ahead and allowed that to happen. So he was complicit, and I heard him clearly in my own village celebrating about it and saying, now that one, I've finished him. Okay. Khawale, you need to accept one thing. Do you want to change our wrong-headed politics, or you want to join it? Because like with the way you are talking, you are happy joining our wrong-headed politics. For me, I'm saying no. Let's watch. Is this the right way? Finally, he also accused me that I just don't like the other side because my opponent for the last 3 elections is on that side. My opponent from the last 3 elections has been appointed Special Secretary for Strategy and Delivery in the Deputy President's office. So you know the President has a Strategy and Delivery unit. The Deputy President also has a Strategy and Delivery unit. That's why I've always argued that these two are Siamese twins under the new constitution, President and Deputy. So they have done their thing for 10 years. They should both go. What is it that Ruto wants to do in the next 10 years that he has not done? He should not stand in 2022.
Boni, you have a minute, please. We are short of time.
I have a lot of respect for what my brother is saying. It is not that you will reinvent the wheel. The politics of the country that we are playing today has been played before, and it has been played by other different countries. The strategy is to embrace change. It is our own patriarch, who you know, Masinde Muliro, who said that if you don't embrace change, change will change you.
Are you changing, or you are going backwards?
That's
not, you're going backwards.
I assume Boni is that we can't go backwards.
I'm finished.
Okay.
I just have a Bible verse, James chapter 2, verse 10, that I want the DCI Kinoti and the DPP Nurdin Haji to read this morning as they begin their work. It says that for whoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbled at just one point is guilty of breaking the whole law. I just want them to be fair, not to have any sacred cows. We want to see heads roll on sugar. we want to see heads roll on least medical equipment, you know, where government is hiring even cotton wool. And we have tried to investigate. 2 committees of parliament have asked for the contracts from Ministry of Health on those least medical equipment.
Nothing.
None has been forthcoming. We have never seen DCI there. Okay. We have containers. Somebody went and painted containers and sold them to the government for 10 million Kenya shillings, made a whooping 5 billion. They are still in office. So the thing is, instead of giving us long lectures, Bwana Kinoti, can you do your work and don't do it selectively?
You know, Ken, in today's Star, it was said Kalenjin MPs are planning an onslaught on the DCI and the DPP. The onslaught has just begun. It is in the Star today. And let me tell my friend Aaron, that we are not saying you are wrong to point them out. We are only saying it is better to say, push them to do a holistic approach to fighting corruption. Come on, now everybody was just quiet when you're talking. Everybody was, we were quiet, you had your time. We are saying they are working. They need the help. I think on a forum like this, we need to even interrogate what the courts are doing to impede the course of justice, because the courts are a big problem. I think DCI Kinoti and Nurdin Haji are spot on.
Okay.
I have my doubts about the EACC. But now let me conclude by saying, Boni, there's something called coalition agreement, which is allowed in Elections Act. It was with Parliament when Lusaka opened the window for that debate. Wetangula, by law, is the leader of minority. The coalition happened when he read that ruling. That I know, and you know me in issues of parliament, I take my time to understand them. And lastly, we are not profiling anybody. We are only saying, if you throw a stone, in a game there is a division called Yala. We always say, if you throw a stone into any home, it will either fall on an engineer or a doctor or a teacher or a professor. This is the way Jubilee government is constituted. If you throw a stone, it will fall on either a Kalenjin or a Kikuyu. They are the people who have the opportunity which you spoke about, and they are the ones who took the ineptitude, the opportunity and the ineptitude of the Jubilee government to plunder our country.
Okay. Lastly, Senator.
Yes, just make 2 very quick points. The first is because I sit in the House of Senate. I was there during the process of when Wetangula was removed as a minority leader. There was a meeting, and I think that's important for the gentleman to understand. My good friend Khawale was not in, Eseli does not sit in the Senate. There was a big meeting of senators from the NASA side, actually, and especially, and they passed a resolution. They took that written resolution to the speaker.
Okay.
And when that was disputed, they went and held another meeting and took a second resolution and said, this is our decision. I think that's a fact, and that's the truth of how that happened. Yes. Now, secondly, is on this big debate we have had this morning on the war against corruption and what's happening. And, you know, Ken, the second line of our national anthem says, justice be our shield and defender. And that is why we all clamored for 25 years for this book, called our Constitution. And unless we remain true to it, even at times when we are passionate about events, at times when I may feel maybe I'm not well treated, at times when I may want certain results, or at times maybe when I want to get justice my own way, unless we remain true to this book and say, if you come and accuse me according to this book of law. And if you want to judge me according to this book. Don't judge me in your version. But if also it comes to the time for me to be put to the test again on this book, if indeed I have been true to my role, to my duty, to my oath, then so be it. What I'm saying is for a just community, for the Kenya I want to live in the next many years, and my children to live in, we have to change course. And changing course means that we also now have to start changing our minds and living for what we are supposed to live for. Justice for all our people.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are completely out of time. I wish I had a few seconds to allow you to wish your constituents and your people Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll do it on your behalf. Thank you very much for coming to share with us. This is our last show on People and Politics for 2018. See you next year, and thank you very much for being faithful to the show. My name is Ken. The gifts for next, we'll have them. Thank you for coming, and thanks for watching. Coming right after this is Living with Us. Good morning.